Hi. Okay, this video is to answer the question, what do I mean when I say that this tarot practice can be considered a secular practice? So, I mostly mean it as a response to what I think is the popular understanding of tarot, and I also think it's a response to what most tarot offerings out there are. So, I think most people understand tarot as being like the universe selects cards for you, and so you have to receive the wisdom of this, whatever it is, advice that comes from, and insert here whatever you believe in, Jesus, God, nature, chaos, etc. And to be able to engage in tarot in that way requires a degree of faith. You need to either trust the cards, or trust the world, or trust the reading, and things like that. And the intention isn't necessarily to discredit that practice by saying they're all a bunch of charlatans or something like that, but more so to say you can engage with this practice without requiring faith. And if you do engage with it without the faith, then it becomes more of a tool for self-analysis and self-exploration. And it's the dynamics of picking a card, proposing an interpretation, and having a conversation about the interpretation in a way that matches your current dilemma, theme, or something like that. That's the practice of sense making. And if you do engage with the tool in this way, you don't negate the possibility of there being some sort of magic involved in the process. You only just focus on the part of the practice that is about sharpening our own sense-making skill set as people who are faced with problems that we currently have problems going through. So in contrast with these are the right cards for you, this is your future, or something like that, the way I do tarot is more, oh, have you thought of this aspect to your problem or dilemma? Or what about this thing? And it doesn't mean that the cards are the right cards. It's more so that we use the themes of the cards to ask yourself unexpected questions, since neither you or I are choosing the cards in a conscious way. You shuffle the deck and you spread the cards out and they're all face down, so you don't know what you're choosing. You pick one and it's inevitably going to surprise you. And it's a form of sort of like self-inquiry discontinuity, where you get to ask yourself a question relevant to this theme that you're bringing to the table, a question that you wouldn't have thought of asking yourself. And the more cards we pull, the more of these unexpected questions show up, and then it helps you explore the field of this question in a bunch of interesting ways, as opposed to in the typical way that you were to engage with it. And then by doing this practice, and it really is sort of the same thing as going to the gym, it's you're testing, you're training your muscle of making sense of things that are unexpected. And so some of these questions might be, let's say, the wrong questions, like they bring us either nowhere, or they don't seem particularly relevant to the subject, which is, if we're actually good at sense making, it's actually really rare that they're irrelevant. More so it'll be like, well, then you get to try out an angle, and then every time you try a different angle, you are essentially just doing the same thing as muscle building, contracting and relaxing, this practice of trying to make it make sense. And then once you leave the gym, the reading, you've exercised your existential attention so as to bring to the rest of your day-to-day more awareness about aspects of this theme that you might have otherwise missed. And what's interesting is by doing this, sure, there's the whole skill building, practicing sense-making stuff, but it doesn't exclude the possibility of magic. There could be magic too, but if you play with it from a place of pragmatism and really as a place for unexpected self-inquiry, uncontrolled self-inquiry, you'll get benefits from the practice regardless of whether or not it's good advice. It also turns out that I've been doing this for a while, it often is good advice too. So that's kind of fun. but you don't need to believe in the cards, and you don't need to believe in tarot. I've been doing tarot for about 10 years, and I would very comfortably say I don't believe in tarot. I have no faith in tarot. It's not relevant. The question is it a useful and interesting tool to help most people find better perspectives relevant to issues that we have trouble solving? That is an absolute yes. And that's obviously true to me by having practiced it for a while. So that's not a faith-based belief. It's been an observation. And I don't mean this as the cards are consistently providing good insight because the people I've been reading to are receptive. It's a way of reading that is so dynamic that it's practice for the both of us, about practice to explore ourselves in a more interesting way. So if you have doubts about tarot because you're thinking it's some hocus pocus, meaningless, well, maybe me too. I'm open to the possibility that none of this is true. Doesn't matter. Is it useful? Does it work? It really works. And is it interesting? It's super interesting. So for those of you who are like me, overly skeptic, and so not super receptive, there's space for this practice to be useful and interesting. Thought this was worthwhile putting out there. Hope this helps. And if you're interested, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll schedule a reading. All right.